So, welcome to DF 2020. Today we're going to have a chat with Leigh Allen. Leigh has joined us recently at DF 2020 as our Director of Knowledge Capital. So, Leigh, can you tell us about your background and how you found yourself as part of the team at DF 2020?
Yeah, of course. My background is predominantly law enforcement, 30 years in the police or in a policing context. Some of that was military police. 9 years in the military police, and then joined the West Mercia Constabulary. There, usual kind of story there. Yeah, uniform police for a while, detective, drug squad, computers, and then I kind of fell into, in the time of setting up computer crime units, I fell into computer crime, and then I stayed on that journey then with computer crime and high tech crime all the way through, finishing 5 years ago as head of forensics for the National Crime Agency. Left that, set up on my own as an independent consultant, where I've done worked on various things, really, things that kind of take my interest. And then I think probably it would be December last year, at an event, a Microsoft event, actually met up with John and Freddie, listened to what they were doing, and it kind of piqued my interest, really, and we've been on a bit of a journey ever since.
Cool. I'm sure you've got some interesting stories to tell, maybe one day. So what are the key factors which excite you about DF 2020?
First off, it was John and Freddie's enthusiasm for the topic, and also to start off with, I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand it. It was, and that intrigued me, because it was this a different way of looking at knowledge and a different way of looking at software. So that was very intriguing. And the more I got into it, the more I learned from John and Freddie, the more fascinating the whole topic became. So it was initially their enthusiasm for the topic, but then it became the topic itself is fascinating.
Mm. And do you think, based on your experience, that there are currently issues with the ways that regulations are presented and kind of used today?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They are, I mean, you've only got to look at the levels of fines that are levied across all kinds of different sectors, but the way rules, I mean, it's a tick box exercise for a lot of people. We say a lot around rules are currently in the form of documents. So people, or rules and procedures are in documents. So they're just a set of procedures that people can follow. But it's not a great medium nowadays for the fast-paced change of life, for the way it's done. So I don't think a lot of the time as well it's connected to the actual activity. So when something happens, the rules tend to be looked at retrospectively after the event to see what's gone on, rather than part of the living environment. So no, I think at the moment, I think there's quite a lot that needs to be improved, the way that people interact with rules and regulations, most definitely.
Sure. And do you think, with the current kind of economic and social issues, kind of COVID, displaced workforces, the timing really couldn't be better for DF 2020?
Yeah, I mean, really, right now, with COVID, with Brexit, and with a whole host of different reasons, the convention's been turned on its head in many respects. And also, because of COVID, digital transformation's been accelerated hugely, which means that actually the pace is changing. So the time is most definitely now to ensure that we're following the right path and the right rules and regulations. So I absolutely agree that the time is now for what DF20 is offering currently around how we interact with rules and regulations, most definitely.
Cool. And which sectors do you see the kind of biggest opportunity for the business?
It's at the moment, it's the sectors that are heavy on safeguarding, I think, and it's the sectors that currently have a number of rules and regulations already in place. So you could sit there. There's a broad range across from kind of healthcare through education. You know, I wouldn't particularly like to tie it down to a particular sector, because actually when you look at what we're trying to do, it's kind of cross-cutting, and it's almost kind of horizontal across the different sectors rather than vertical through the sectors. But any sector at the moment currently that's getting large fines levied against it because they're struggling to find ways of working to the regulations, or there's a really heavy element of safeguarding, so childcare, social care, healthcare, that sort of thing, tailor-made for that kind of environment.
Excellent. And finally, what's the dream scenario in, say, 12 months' time?
Dream scenario, more people safeguarded, more people following the right path. For me, the opportunity here is more around managing a service for how these rules and regulations are interacted with. So a large company that could see the value of this, that could pick it up and elevate it to a managed service point of view, where across either that sector or interacting with other sectors, where more and more people are finding it much easier to keep themselves safe and keep everybody around them safe by following the rules. They don't have to keep going digging across the internet for all this stuff. They can just interact and work through something safe in the knowledge that they're keeping safe. And I think that would be my dream, more people having access to that kind of technology in a year's time.
Sounds great. Thanks for your time, Leigh, and thanks everyone for listening. Stay tuned to our social media for more news updates, and we'll see you soon.